Hey everyone, so today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than usual. For longtime viewers, I'll talk about why I'm doing this at the end of the video, but before we start, I just want to apologize to anyone with Dwarven heritage because I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of these Dwarven names. What can I say, when I took my semester of Dwarven in high school, it was the first class of the day and I guess I just wasn't fully awake. But enough messing around, let's play some Dwarf Fortress. So let's go over the background of this fortress. The world is named Thadar N, or in English, the Planet of Legends. This fortress is located in an area called the Sweet Fields. Our dwarves hail from a civilization known as the Thin Citadel, and have decided to call our fortress Lovely Temple, or as it's known in the Dwarven tongue, Avalrath. And after much deliberation, they have decided that their symbol will be a coin torturing an oak. Now our dwarves have a very simple goal. They want to be disgustingly rich. I'm talking the kind of greed that the Bible warned you about. And to do so, they've decided to strike it on their own. And for the time being, we're going to try to keep our population small at around 20 dwarves. And while traveling from the homeland, our starting dwarves have decided that since they took the initiative to start this fort, they're going to make sure that they're taken care of first. Simply put, they're going to be living in the lap of luxury. And while they eventually will let the other dwarves get a taste of the good life, some dwarves are going to be a little more equal than others. But enough setup, let's meet our starting 7 dwarves. First off, we have Dorn de Tenzril, our resident metalsmith. He's a creative and bright dwarf, but at times he just gets lost in his head a little bit and gets distracted. And to combat this, he likes to keep things simple. A real beer and forge kind of dwarf. He is also very polite, but also has a bad habit of going along with the emotions of others. And since he's our resident metalsmith, hopefully we get to see a lot of fancy gold statues and arms and armor from him. Kitrost Tetekrudid. Now Kitrost is our expedition leader. Besides all the typical managerial skills, she also seems like an overall great boss, easily forms attachments, and loves a fast-paced working environment. She has a good head on her shoulders and can handle stress really well. She also develops a weird laugh when exasperated and runs her finger through her hair when annoyed. Izum Imashrathil. Now Izum is the kind of dwarf that is defined by his many contradictions. He's a self-admitted coward, however he deeply respects martial prowess. He is okay with not doing things perfectly, and has no sense of aesthetics, but he also greatly values art and creating it. And while he overindulges from time to time, he is a great and compassionate dwarf and is open to new ideas. He is also one of our miners. Dashot Arekatesh. Dashot is our resident doctor, and while she has some of the qualities that you would want in a doctor, like being patient and a good communicator, she's also a bit of a nightmare. She prefers things to be messy and hates it when things are too orderly. She is quick to form negative views on things, she likes to think in the abstract instead of being practical, and has a bad work ethic. Honestly, it wouldn't be a surprise to us if in a few years down the line she admitted that her doctorate was in the arts rather than medical. Kel Regdeten. Kel is our other resident miner and is a complicated dwarf. He loves when people get along, shows mercy when possible, and likes to let things go. However, he's a bit of a people pleaser and will change his mind just to get along with others. He is also a no-nonsense kind of dwarf and is often critical of his own work. And he also considers himself a big shot, which may come to pass if these dwarves strike it as rich as they think they will. Rovad Ragastmamun. Rovad is our resident woodsdwarf and woodsworker. She likes to live on the edge but generally struggles with her self-esteem unless she's in a situation that involves something that she's very knowledgeable about. She also tends to exhale sharply when angry, bites her nails when annoyed, and whispers to herself when she's trying to remember something. And last but not least, we have Kol Lazenster. Kol is our resident farmer, brewer, and butcher. He is often deadpanned and really seems like the kind of guy who likes to argue for the sake of argument. However, this bothers him since he really does value friendship and wants to get along. He also has a bad habit of telling pointless rambling stories when bored. Hopefully this expedition sands down his rougher edges a little bit. So it looks like we finally reached the site. Everything looks really great over here. One thing I want to say is that I have tagged all of our founding dwarves as founders just because I'm really bad at remembering names, and if I was to try to remember a dwarven name, I could never do that. And I just want to make sure that our founding dwarves are taken care of and they get the nicest things first. Eventually things will trickle down as they do, but for right now, they're labeled like this just so I don't forget them in the shuffle. So let's go ahead and let's just start digging out a little hole for them to hang out in, just like a barracks / chill out zone / place where they don't have to just be outside, because as every dwarf knows, getting rained on is a fate worse than death. And let's also try to be a little proactive and get a pen started, just so our animals aren't forgotten, because I have a bad habit of just letting our animals just kind of die because they're abandoned. But, you know, we're turning over a new leaf dwarves. All right, so now that we have that, now we have some wood here, I'm going to go build some... Oh, where is it? I'm going to build some carpenter wood workshops, because it seems like the one thing that you always need are just little bits of furniture, especially starting off. You can never have too many beds, which is what I'm going to be building, because our dwarves deserve better. They shouldn't be sleeping on the ground. All right, so we have that set up. So I'm going to have our carpenter, and I'm going to have our farmer pitch in, just because we don't have a lot of farming needs right now, but we do need beds. We do need just some furniture. Oh, I forgot to assign a manager. And our manager is going to be very mad because we don't have anything set up, but the sooner we get things set up, the sooner we can get them some sort of office. And let's just try to see if we can... I don't know, we'll make some shields, just because I know around this time of year the caravans like to show up, and I'd like to have something we can trade them, but also I think it's time for us to start digging down while we're waiting for our beds to get made. All right, dwarves, so it looks like we've hit just a little bit of a snag. So it looks like we're starting to get through some water here, and I really need to get this taken care of quickly. So my plan is I'm going to have this dug out, and then I'm going to build a little wooden wall around it just so we don't flood. Alright, so it looks like crisis has been averted on this level, so now let's dig one more level down. Alright, so far so good, and it looks like we're getting into some stone. And... Alright, so it looks like I was paused for a second, but now that we're here, let's make sure that we're not digging into water. Alright, so it looks like the supply caravan is here. Hopefully we have... Okay, it looks like we have a couple shields ready, but we don't have a trade depot, so let's just throw together something just so we can start trading when the caravans do officially arrive. And while we're waiting for the caravan to get here, we're just going to throw our beds right here and make a little dormitory just because it's better than nothing. I will also have somebody just make a door, because I know a wooden door, especially with the siege update happening, a wooden door isn't really going to help, but honestly, I'd like to have a door between the elements and me. I don't know what the holdup is, but alright, looks like we're finally getting some beds put together. Alright, let's see what's going on with in the diplomacy area. Alright, Kit Roast, nice to meet you. World the same as ever. Okay, I guess no news is good news. Requests for next year. I don't know. Booze and food. I'll just get through this exciting trade caravan stuff. Also, for the purposes of the trade, it's not going to be too exciting, so I'm just going to give a brief report of what we end up trading, since especially at this point of the game, besides a few shields, we don't have anything really interesting to trade. Right, but it looks like we do have a few migrants that popped up, so let's see who we have. Right, we got an armor smith. And for right now, they're going to help with the mining, quality engraving, and stone cutting. And one thing I like to do is I kind of like to have everyone pitch in with the engraving, because I know it helps with their moods. So I figure in the long run, it's going to help with their moods, but also when we have projects where we need to have a lot of the fortresses engraved, because again, this is going to be a very high-class fortress. It might be nice to get all that engraving done really quick, and you know, nothing brings a community together like a big old art project. Metal crafter, they're going to help with mining, hauling and stone cutting too. A jeweler, well, we don't have a jewelry area set up, but I think that is some general tasks be good for you. Right, in a crafts dwarf. All right, let's see what your right, a weaver. We don't really have anything for. Well, we will need a furnace operator down the line, but for right now, just some general tasks. And since I've actually had a few people set up for gathering, let's have everyone. Let's just gather every plant we can, because good Lord knows that we will need them for our eventual brewing operation we're going to set up. It's going to be the best microbrewery you've ever seen. And no, that's not a size joke, because they're dwarves. One exciting trading session later. Alright, so since we're just starting off, we're able to only make a few wooden shields. I'm going to have them trade 3 shields for an empty barrel. Not a really good trade, but I've heard that if you don't trade anything, the caravan gets real mad and they just assume that you're broke and they'll never trade with you again. So I think we're just going to do that. Offer to trade, call it good. And yeah, that's that. We don't need a broker anymore. All right, well, it was good trading with you, dwarves, and hopefully we will see you next year. But also, while I get your attention down here, I have some plans for a nice big dwarven area, and I'm going to use some editing magic, and when we get back, I'll show you what my plans are for this area of the fortress, and we'll be right back. Alright everyone, we're back. So this is just a little outline for what I want the fortress to be. So obviously this is where everyone's going to come down the stairs. Down here is going to be our very basic storage area. For now, I just want everything off the surface as quickly as possible. It's not going to be super fancy. It's not going to be super elegant. Again, just for now, this is just going to be a general, just get everything so it's not up here. And right here is where our dormitories are going to be. Again, they're going to be pretty spacious. They're going to be out of the elements, out of everything. And as you can notice, it has a much higher priority than our starting 7 dwarves luxury accommodations. Hey everyone, Editing Evan here. So I know it looks like everything is going to get carved out with the same priority. However, what I did was I made it so the doorways are going to be set to priority 3, therefore making it so the luxury suites will get carved out after the doors. So realistically, the dorms are going to get carved out first. It was annoying me when I saw it in editing, and I figured that I just needed to bring this up to avoid any confusion. I mean, if you still want to comment about it down below, I won't say no to extra engagement, but let's get back to it. And then if you can take a look over here, what this is going to be is this is going to be our basically our area where you come to relax, our fun complex. So this is going to be just a giant meeting hall. There's going to be tables for eating, and these little alcoves here, these are going to be little tiny micro temples, and in the future I can see us digging them out into the stone a little further as we get more resources, so things are going to be more grand, but for now this will do. And then this right here is going to be our larder. We're going to put all our food here. It's a lower priority than everything else, but again, I just want everything not on the surface. But again, we'll be back once I get this carved out, or if something fun happens. All right, everyone, just some breaking news. We finally have opened our official Lovely Temple dormitory, and there are enough beds for everyone, so no more hot bunking on the surface like an elf or something like that. We're still working on everything. I just want to give you that update. We'll get back to you once we have another update. All right, everyone. Just wanted to break in and introduce our new plan for our new industrial center of town. We're going to have all these little areas carved out soon enough, and we're going to have just a place where we can carve stone. We can finally get some metal crafts going. This will be great. We still need to get everything done, but I just wanted to show you the plan before we speed ahead. All right, everyone, introducing our new stockpile. It's going to have everything. Just again, to get everything off the surface, and just to make sure that we don't have anything here, we're going to get rid of our useless trading depot and our cart. So hopefully this gets the ball rolling soon. And also, while we're here, let's just start a new meeting area. It's going to be great. It's going to have fellowship. It's gonna have chairs so you can sit around and just have a grand old time just with the lads. 6 people at a time sitting down having just the time of their life. And speaking of the time of your life, we finally have an office so we can keep track of everything that we're going to store in said stockpile. So are you ready to have all sorts of fancy paperwork done with a single chair and a single table? Talk about an ergonomic, fast-paced work environment. You know what? Honestly, might not be too terrible to work here, but it's a meager study that we still need. So let's go ahead and, you know what? I forgot. Silly me. Kit Roast, there is your study. Now, I'll see, look. Technically a study. That's, and that's the best kind of office. Technically an office. Ooh, we got talc. It's, you know what? Nothing can stop us now. We got talc. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a higher priority for our industry, because it's high time that we got a little fancier. So let's go and set these priorities, just because as nice as it would be to get the fun complex knocked out, I think this is what's really going to help us grow as a fortress. and then eventually we'll have the nicest fun complex ever. But for now, we really need to lock in dwarves. Alright everyone, and with that we finally have our industrial quarter carved out. Now, we just have to start building. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to build a couple carpenter's workshops. I think we're only going to have one manned for now, but it doesn't hurt to have a couple. And same with stone cutting, because you never know when you're going to need a whole bunch of stone crafts. Alright, so we're going to have a couple carpenter's workshops, a couple stone workers, a jeweler, a wood furnace, a forge, a mechanics workshop, and I guess for now we'll leave these two blank, but soon enough we'll have our industry going, and this hot property will move. And speaking of hot property, it looks like we're almost done with our luxury bedrooms. Soon we'll have these smoothed out and ready to move into. Right, and it also looks like winter is upon us, so hopefully this 100 drink is enough to last us throughout the year. Also, usually I like to mess with with our streams during winter, but for right now we're just so busy. I don't have time to do my dumb little vanity projects where I divert the stream into like a smiley face or a weird channel, but don't worry, eventually we'll figure out something. Alright everyone, and with that our fancy bedrooms are officially carved out. So now we get to start working on the fun complex. However, since this is all done, let's go ahead and let's just get everything smoothed out in here on the floors, just because it's a real pain to move furniture around. It's a lot easier to do it once everything's smooth. This way we don't have to move our furniture around when we're smoothing our floors out. But since we have so many dwarves set to do this as their task, this should be fine. Look at it, it's a fun little community project. Alright, and I hate to do this, especially to our founding dwarves who are supposed to be living in the lap of luxury, but we just have too many tasks to do right now to smooth out this last floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the dwarves start going to their assigned tasks, just so we have something to trade for next year and are a little bit productive. But once we're ready to move out of our big dorm, we'll make sure to get everything set up first before moving our founders out of there. All right, let's get these doors out of the cold so I don't have to woodwork up there. And let's check down here, see how everything's doing. All right, so it looks like we're finally getting our fun center carved out. This will be a massive project, but honestly, once this is all done, it's going to be worth it. I mean, look at all this area we have for activities. We're going to be able to dance and sing and do whatever we want. It's going to be great. We're going to hate to do this, but we're going to have our doctor do a few shifts at the smelter just because we don't have a proper hospital set up yet. You know, and that's actually going to work for right now because no one needs any medical attention and you only go to the hospital if you're sick. So maybe we'll just not build a hospital so we'll never have sick people. And also for things like this where I always kind of want someone cutting gems, but I don't want to set them to work it for forever just in case I actually forget about it. We'll just have them cut 200 gems. That's seems pretty adequate. All right, and here we have part of my patented 20-sided night beautification project. We're going to start building a lot of tables and thrones and also statues because when in doubt, just throw statues everywhere, and dwarves will say, man, my room, it's full of statues, but I kind of dig it. Alright everyone, so it looks like we finally got our big ol' fun complex carved out for the most part. We still need to get our temple complex carved out, but I figured this is going to be a lot of fun still. Also, let's just expand our stockpile area a little bit, just because I don't like how there's still stuff here on the surface that we haven't got to. That needs to be rectified. And I don't like how our food stockpiles are looking, but I feel like we have enough that we'll be able to last until we get the caravan to come back. We'll trade for more food, but also we'll probably be able to get plants harvested and made into food and drink. Alright everyone, and with that, we finally have all of our starting dwarves' quarters carved out. So now what we're going to do is we just got to get these quarters all furnished, and then once that's all done, we'll be able to have our founders move into their well-deserved luxury quarters. Alright, dwarves, it's a sad day that we have to get rid of our fellowship area where, for time in memoriam in Lovely Temple, you could come and sit with the lads and have a great time. However, we are making headway into our fun complex. So now we actually have a need for these chairs rather than just somewhere to sit around. So we have an actual honest-to-goodness dining area, which now, because we have enough chairs, we can all sit down, and it's going to be great. It's going to be so awesome. And once we get our altars set up, then once we get our altars made, we'll finally get our churches set up so our dwarves can start praying like they want. But also, we just need a few more statues because, again, when in doubt, throw a bunch of statues everywhere. It adds a lot of ambiance. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm feeling sad, much like Seafoam Green, statues do boost my morale. Alright, dwarves, so I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to a current potential crisis we're facing. So we're really low on drink and food. And while we're getting dwarves to just start gathering everything, and we have a stream that we can use if for whatever reason we need somewhere to get water from, I want a more permanent solution, especially just because we just got out of that pretty brutal winter. So one thing I did remember is that while we were digging down, we did come into a situation where there's water. So it's crazy. I think it's just crazy enough to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig into this area that is prone to flooding. And then this way, I forgot how tedious it gets because dwarves get spooked. And also just as a safety precaution, because apparently dwarves build the most watertight doors imaginable, I'm going to just build I'm just going to have a door set there just in case this all comes crashing down, we at the very least won't lose the fort. And I really forgot how tedious this is when they get scared like that. And this is going to be a little cruel, but I'm going to forbid you from leaving for now. Just so you can't run away and go do something else for the time being. And don't worry, if it looks like he's actually going to drown, then I'll get him out of there, but I just don't want him running out anymore. All right, and I feel like he did his job, so we can get out of here. So right now, we're just going to build a few walls right here, just because of the nature of dwarven construction. By the time we get this all built, we should have enough of this area muddied that we won't have to worry about mudding a field manually like we usually would. All right, it looks like we finally have enough altars made. So because of this, we're going to start getting our temple set up. All right, dwarves, breaking news. We are dangerously low on drink. Honestly, I wouldn't with sobriety on an elf. So we just need to get something going. And again, I hate to have our doctor do everything, but we don't have any medical needs. And honestly, booze is a kind of medicine. If you really think about it, he's doing his doctory duties right now by making enough booze for the fort. It all seems like a new shipment of statues has just come in, so while that's happening, we're going to start getting some statues set up in our fancy quarters. And again, just so no one can say that I'm leaving the regular dwarves completely out in the cold, I mean, they do have to share looking at statues. They don't get their own private statues, but look at that. That's really nice. And you know what? Off a statue. And we'll throw a single statue in the meeting hall. And a couple of lucky dwarves each night will be able to sit next to the dining hall statues. Alright, so it looks like our farm is finally complete. So we're going to just grow plump helmets just because it's really easy to do. All right, and one thing that's caught my eye is this statue looks a little interesting, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. This is a well-crafted dolomite statue of a fire snake. This item is a well-designed image of a fire snake in dolomite by Izam Amatrazil. So those sound pretty terrifying, but honestly, having a fire snake statue in my room seems pretty cool. Alright everyone, so with that, it looks like we finally have our Founding Dwarves bedroom set up. They're not super fancy yet, but they're a little better than having a communal dorm with everyone else. At least you have your own big area to sit in and go to bed and look at your very own private statue. And it looks like there was a slight budgeting error and we accidentally made an extra bedroom. So this one will be for any dwarf who distinguishes themselves that came in any of the other microwaves. All right, and so one thing I've noticed is that we don't really have any cool ores to to make. We have a decent amount of charcoal right now, but we just don't have anything good to smelt. So once we get this carved up, hopefully we have something to smelt. At the very least, maybe more gems and jewels. All right, and checking on the farm, it looks like the farm is working. It's poor soil, but you know, it's better than nothing. We'll always have this year round at the very least. And we are getting plump helmets, so that is helping the food situation, but we're desperately low on drinks. Hopefully our doctor helps us make some medicine soon, or else we're going to have a few words with him. Alright, so I'm still kind of concerned about the level of drinks here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our doctor here. Let's see, what is he doing? Let's turn off everything. I don't want him doing anything besides getting stuff for drinks. So no more gathering, no more nothing. It's time to lock in, my guy. And hopefully that fixes stuff. So we can get a few more drinks in our fortress. What are you up to? Come on. All right, so it looks like we're making something out of artichoke heart. I'm interested to see what he's actually going to do with that. I know booze is super easy to make. Fun fact, I used to work at a mental health facility, and one time some kids made, I hate to call it booze, but they made something alcoholic in their shampoo bottle by just throwing a little bit of bread and jam into a shampoo bottle. And the only reason they got caught is because a kid forgot to burp their creation one day, which, I don't know, kind of worked out for us, but also an important lesson for all brewers. You need to burp your product. All right, and I know it's kind of a grim thing to plan for, but it's probably not a bad idea to start making coffins, because it's better to have a coffin and not need it than need a coffin and not have it. All right, now it looks like our pit mining is going as well as you can expect. Hopefully we find a few better things. Otherwise, we're just gonna be a dolomite kind of fortress. However, after we have everything mined out here, this may be a decent area for our graveyard. You know, got to put those coffins to use somewhere. All right, it looks like our farm is doing pretty good, even though it's poor quality. You know, it's better than nothing. All right, and I hate to say this, but we do kind of need some water. So I am going to do the very risky thing, and I'm going to try to build an emergency underground water source. I'm going to build a few redundancies where I'm going to put a door, probably right at the start right there, just so if the worst comes to pass, we're not going to lose the fortress. We're just going to lose a certain area. Also, just thinking about it, what's the worst that could happen with an amateur Dwarf Fortress player playing around with water? I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Everything will be fine. Ooh, gems and jewels. I do want this waterworks set up because it's better to have waterworks before you need it. So we're going to put a slightly higher priority. We're going to start building a few rock mechanisms. Alright, looks like he's brewing, but it's just not going as fast as we need this to go. So much to do, so little time, so few dwarves. I tell ya. Alright, so we're gonna start this off by putting our first safety door here. Again, apparently the dwarves, even though they're more suited to making stone crafts, apparently these doors are watertight. So hopefully that works. And we are going to build So in the past, I've learned the hard way that digging diagonally kills water pressure enough for the dwarf to run away, instead of drowning and then getting a visit from Dwarf OSHA. Hopefully, we're able to, I don't know, again, I'm just building a couple redundancies, and hopefully with doing this, we're able to make this a little safer. And I feel like with something like this, it's probably better to have a floodgate. Let's see what we need for a floodgate. Make one first. Well, our gem cutter gem cutter Uzol is kind of experiencing a lack of work. So we are going to allow them to help out with our stone crafts. And I figure we just need more statues. That's a pretty noble endeavor. All right, and I'm just gonna continue to let these dwarves mine this area out, just because I know it's gonna irrationally bug me if we have something like this where it's not complete. I know it's dumb because it's just a room that I'm never gonna look at, but it's gonna bug me. Like every time I scroll through the levels, I'm gonna see it and it's gonna be an issue. So after we do that, I'm gonna leave this place to its fate and again probably convert it into a tomb. Oh, look, we have some more help. I was just talking about how we need more help, and they brought a little horse. All right, let's see what you are good at. Oh, okay, a bower, a trapper. And so you are an herbalist, so that will help out. And you know what I think we need, just because our drinks, they're still not doing great. I think we're gonna have to build a second still out of dolomite, of course. We have that everywhere. Because it'll be nice to not have the doctor have to be our sole alcohol supplier. But oh, it looks like we also got it. Oh, we had some more people show up. I did not see that. So all right, bear with me, everyone, while I get everyone assigned. We will be right back. All right, everyone. So we've got everyone assigned. We've also got this bone carver, and I know that Amos is better at bone carving, but we figure that with an opportunity to diversify, he's going to be very good at making rock crafts soon enough, and also it'll be good for the fortress. That way, we can sell stuff to the merchants without having to get rid of anything too important. But also, I mean, it'll be nice to have some mugs around the fortress instead of just having to I just assume the dwarves are doing that thing where they're just going under the spigot with all this booze in it, and they're just like drinking from it, which, as fun as it is, it's a little bit uncouth. And our cheesemaker is also going to be our new brewer to help out with the drinks around here that our population desperately needs. This eyesore is almost done. I don't know why I told him to just dig out a big rectangle. It's one of those things where it's fun to draw the big rectangle, but then you actually have to mine it out, and then it's like a whole thing. But hopefully it'll be done soon, and hopefully I'll learn my lesson to not make big grandiose plans when the fortress isn't that big yet. Alright, so right now we're just getting back to getting our water project sorted out. And again, nothing bad will ever happen. I'm sure all these dwarves will be happy and healthy, and again, this will go without a hitch. There's never been in the history of Dwarf Fortress a problem with somebody being a little silly with water. But this pool of water, I mean, it shouldn't be too bad, should it? Again, nothing bad will happen. I'm sure this is not where we see our first fortress death. Oh, there you go. Whoa. Oh, yeah. This is going to be either really good or really bad. Alright, so it looks like that's filling up a little bit more than I'm comfortable with. So we're just going to pause it, and then we are going to make... you know what? This was my plan all along. Everyone knows that I always wanted to build a second room to hold water. That was my plan all along. Shame on you for not having faith in my genius. This is actually going to turn out pretty good after all. So, let's try and build a well. Alright, and let's see what we need to build a well. Yeah, let's make some rock blocks there, because I think we can spare the dolomite. Alright, so it looks like my dumb vanity project has finally been completed. So now we are going to engage in the other great dwarven tradition, digging down with little to no disregard. I don't think there's ever been a group of dwarves who's ever... Oh man, I don't even know how you'd say it, but like dug too deep and too greedily? I don't know, that doesn't sound like something a dwarf would do. Alright, and so every once in a while, after digging deep, I like to branch out and see. It's kind of like a little exploratory room to see what's going to be on this level. Alright, mudstone. Alright, that's not very cool. So let's dig down one more level. And it looks like we're going to have to do this trick again where we get everything dug out, and then we have to make a very quick little wall. Alright, so it looks like we get to play this game again. So, I mean, I guess it's good in the one respect that we're probably not gonna die of dehydration, even if the worst comes to worst and we have to, Lord forbid, drink water. Oh. So this is why you can't let the water sit for too long. And I don't know why these dwarves think they can just not show up for work. I've requested ever so nicely that they come do just a simple task, and they just don't want to show up. It's hard to find hardworking dwarves these days. All right, so after that gets taken care of, let's go and do what I just complained about, how I always do this and never learn my lesson. Let's dig over here and see if we find anything. I'm thinking maybe there's water, like a big aquifer or something, and we're digging straight into it, so it's better to dig to the side of it. Just got to give yourself some options. But let's check on the rest of the fort. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to see what we can do to beautify the fortress, just because, again, we are here to live in a lap of luxury, so I feel like we should be beautifying the fortress a little bit. All right, we've got a decent amount of statues, so you know what that means, everyone. All the 7 dwarves are getting statues. And we have enough to put one in the overflow room. We're gonna put a few more statues and even in here, just to kind of flex on the merchants when they come in. Also, while we're talking about this, let's just build our trade depot right here, right now, just so we're not caught off guard when we need to show the merchants a good time and a good trade. It was kind of funny to see. Also, I mean, as much of a security risk as this is, I have to cover this up, but it is kind of cool to see the difference we're making in the land. Let's see how we're doing on our crafts. All right, so it looks like we're doing okay over here. All right, looks like we need to make some more barrels. Because I know we have enough food and drink. It's never a bad idea to have more food and more drink. All right, our well is operational. Good to know. And I know this is sort of a vanity, because we don't really need this, since it's just the area around. Well, I just like to have it be a little nicer. Just because also it just seems kind of weird that we have this big kind of pit that we just sort of precariously put a well on. I want it to feel a little more secured, so when the dwarves come get their water, they're not freaking out. All right, and also, why are we leaving this fallow? We need... All right, and a caravan just arrived. All right, it's a good thing we already have this. So, just to wrap up the episode, we are going to start moving a few bits and bobs to this trade caravan, and yeah, that'll be a nice stopping spot for the episode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speed through all this high octane trading action. And I'm just going to give a report, and then at the end of it, we're going to go and talk, sort of talk about the trade. And then after that, I think that's going to end it for the episode. So just stay tuned while I use some editing magic to speed this along. All right, everyone, so we're back, and the liaison had some news, and it was nothing too consequential. They said that they want big gems next year. I mean, honestly, who doesn't want big gems? So we'll try to be on the lookout, but also the Earth is going to yield what the Earth is going to yield. This year, I traded for a few tools, and mostly just alcohol, just so I always like it when we don't have to worry about our drink stockpile, because who likes being thirsty? No one does. And for food, you can always kind of get something. And when we break into the cavern layer, if needed, there's always a bunch of little critters down there that we could just gobble up. But I don't know. It seems like it's always harder to get your hands on liquor. So we traded for that, a few other things, a couple tools, nothing too crazy. We're going to trade. They liked it. And then we're going to tell the broker that we don't need them right now. But, all right, everyone. So that is going to end this episode. Again, this was all kind of rough. My first time doing this. Hopefully this works really well and you guys like this. And just some behind the scenes things. I know another great dwarf likes to go over behind the scenes things, and I figure, why can't I? So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to make this as entertaining for you as possible. And it's one of those things where there is a certain amount of satisfaction I get from watching the dwarves just do a big project and sitting back and seeing the fruits of my plans happen. But I also feel like it's not very fun to see someone else do that. So as you probably noticed, what I've been doing is whenever there's sort of a break in the action and we're just getting to work, I've just been speeding up through that, just because, again, I don't know how entertaining that is. If you like that, let me know, and I'll just let you watch unedited footage of dwarves slowly chipping through the mountain or slowly doing whatever. But anyway, that's it from me right now, the outro. But I hope you guys had some fun, and hopefully you guys have a great day. Bye-bye. So for longtime fans of the channel, you may be wondering why I'm making a Dwarf Fortress video, and not a video about a Starfinder rule, or an item, or a creature, or whatever. Well, don't worry, the Starfinder content isn't going anywhere. But to be honest, I do need a break from it, and I wanted to branch out and try something new. To be frank, I haven't read the 2nd edition book with a fine-tooth comb, but from what I have read, I just haven't vibed with it. It seems like they're watering things down and restricting what you can do. For example, with the soldier class, they're basically restricting you to being the heavy with big guns or big swords. What I really liked about the 1st edition soldier class is just how versatile it was. You could be a big heavy weapons guy, or you could be a space knight with a sword and shield, or you could be a space cowboy with 2 revolvers, a cool sniper, or hell, you could even be one of those high-speed, low-drag mall ninjas you hear about online. And sorry, not sorry, but I don't want to have to buy a Pathfinder book to play a fighter in my Starfinder game. Also, it seems like some of the art may be AI, also ancestries. On top of that, it's been about a year since I've actually got to play the game, and I don't know, it feels weird to make content on a game that I actually haven't got to get my hands on for a while. But for the most part, I just wanted to try something new, and if I feel like the juice is worth the squeeze, then I'll keep playing until they get stupid rich, or die horribly. But don't worry, I'll be making Starfinder videos before you know it. Hey you rascal, thank you for watching the video. Click here to subscribe, click here to see one of our newer videos, and click here to see something random.